And finally today, it's car of the year with about 10 cars. And as I said, I forgot which car we only choose from the Subaru and Ford. And we added the Mazda because we forgot that we should have added it in. But let's start from the nearest sizes. But we're not doing hatch because it's too hard to figure it out for right now. But we're starting from the BMW versus the e-tron. So let's take a look. These are our first two cars, but which is better? We know that electric cars, it's starting to turn into the future, but wagons have more space for their boot, and I'm pretty sure BMW is a more popular brand. But which is better? Out of these two cars, we're not looking at color, but I know the BMW, the Audi is much more expensive, and that just fixes it. The Audi is out of the race. And now, we're doing the Compass versus the Outlander. I know the Outlander is more spacey and is bigger, but the Jeep is also good, as the Mitsubishi has the future, which is more for the future. And that also nails it for the Outlander winning. And sorry for the Jeep that is out of the race. And now we only have about 9 more cars left, which is pretty fast for 2 minutes. So let's do pickup truck versus big SUV. Out of these two cars, which is better? I know more people like SUVs, but on the other side, Toyota is a good brand and lots of people buy the Highlights. But that doesn't nail it. Which is better? The boot is better for the Toyota because it is a pickup truck, but for the Jeep, it doesn't have a choice for the top sunscreen thing, but for the Jeep it has the spare tire on the back, but that still doesn't nail it because the Toyota has it under the bottom of the car. So that actually nails it. The Toyota wins this part, and that means the Jeep is out of the race. Jeep is not so good anymore because both of our Jeeps is out of the race. But now for these cars, next size is the Ford Fiesta versus the Ford Focus. And which is better? Out of these two cars, I know the Focus is more spacey and bigger, but for the Fiesta, it doesn't have anything to really nail it back to first place. Even though it won last race, this time, these two Fords, the Focus has gotten the Fiesta out because it's much bigger and more people will buy this size as it is a more spacey size, and more people will choose this car even though it is maybe leaving Australia in about 2024 maybe. That's because I've checked out some other newses, but still, for this year, people can still buy this car also next year, but it might stop sales in 2024. But still, you can choose this car, so that's why I chose the Focus. Now, it's better because we only have about 6 more cars left, and it's just past about 4 minutes and a half. So, next part is the Mitsubishi versus the BMW. I have a feeling it's already in the semi-finals part where the cars that won the races verse each other, but the Toyota doesn't have anyone to verse, so it's versing the Ford, and then the winner, and then the winner of both of these go together, verse and then reverse the hatchbacks and see who wins Car of the Year 2022. Out of these two cars, they're pretty hard to choose, but the space, I can't recommend which car is better. But for Car of the Year, it's already Car of the Year and we have to finish it before next year. But it's so hard between these two cars. But who is better? I know the BMW is more expensive and doesn't really have an electric version or hybrid, but it has a choice between sedan and wagon, and here is the wagon, so it only can nail it with the wagon. And for the Mitsubishi, it has a bigger boot space and is much cheaper, so we chose the Outlander. 5 cars left at 6 minutes. Pretty good. So, now out of these cars, it's the Outlander versus the Toyota. Well, not yet, because it's actually the Ford versus the Toyota. These two sizes are like the opposite sides of the race. They're really opposite sides because, you know what I mean, they're opposite. One is big and one is small. But I know lots of people like hatches, but also lots of people will buy the pit-up. But that's only for workers and like pit-up truck lovers or car lovers. But it's for most people. What car will most people buy? And that comes to the answer. It's the Ford Focus. Now there's a bit of Ford, but we still can nail the Car of the Year 2022. Which is the best out of these cars? We'll start from Subaru versus Ford, and then the winner versus Outlander versus Mazda. Okay, which is better out of these two cars? The Subaru has a choice of 4-wheel drive, which means better to mud driving people, but not like less than half of the people in Australia will go mud driving. But for the Ford, it is only 2-wheel drive, and as I said, it might be leaving Australia in 2024, but it's still here for you to buy in 2022 and 2023. So, I know the Subaru last time, I don't know why it won, but I have a feeling that the Ford is better. But I still don't know why, because I haven't checked it since when I said last time, which is about at least 1 month ago. But out of these two cars, which is better? I have to choose the Ford because more people like the Ford, but even though lots of people buy the Subaru, I think the Ford is much better in price. So that's why I chose the Ford. So the Subaru sadly got out of the race, which meant 3 more cars left at about 8 minutes. And now, it's the Outlander versus the Focus. I know it's been like only about 8 minutes and a half, but we only have 3 cars left, which means we will finish it at about 15 minutes in time for our videos. Okay, first we'll do Outlander versus Focus, and that the winner versus Mazda. These two cars, they are like opposite sides of the race. And I think I'd better choose the Outlander this time because, as I said, the Ford might be getting out of Australia, and it is. I think the Outlander is much better in price and different versions, and it is ready for the future because it is FUV, which means petrol hybrid electric vehicle, which means it's a crossover between petrol and electric, which is hybrid. But it's called FUV. And that means, sadly, the Ford lost our race, which means only the Outlander left and the Mazda. Which means we're pretty close to the Wheels of the Year now, because it shows the CS30, and we already have the Mazda 3, which is in the very semi-finals, like quarter-finals, at the very end. Which car will win out of these two cars? You tell me which is better, but it's not all yours, because it's my choice, but you choose what car you buy. But at the very end of our video, the better the car is, but that doesn't mean you have to buy the car I choose. You don't buy the Outlander or the Mazda or any other car, just enter the car of the year. Okay, what is better out of these two cars is a very hard choice, but I chose the Mazda because it's a hatchback and a sedan choice, but even though it's not really ready for the future and it's more expensive, it is still at least ready for car of the year, and it will go to the end. And anyway, it will change to EV all of the cars. So it doesn't mind who has it right now, even though they might test it and they'll be better at EV. Still, the Mazda still can nail it for our 2022 Car of the Year, Mazda 3. So that's 22 Car of the Year. Nailed it under 11 minutes. So it's pretty good, much better than other Car of the Year since it's so short, but we still had to nail it. We'll tell you how we considered that. The cars that entered Car of the Year are the winners of Car of the Year: EV, wagon, small SUV, big SUV, medium SUV. That's the winners of those. And then we had to add the Mazda because I knew it would win, but at least we gave the other cars a bit of a chance. So that was 2022 Car of the Year, and the Mazda won, hiding here. But we chose them from so different sizes. We started from the easiest, like the Audi and the BMW were similar in price, and they were similar in sizes. So we did them first, and then we did like the Jeep and the Toyota, which were like similar, but the Toyota, the Land Cruiser was similar, and that was similar to the Jeep. And then we did like small SUV and medium SUV, and then we went into semi, which we couldn't do that because at the very end there wouldn't be, the last two cars wouldn't be like in the same size. But we did do same size competing from the Subaru and the Ford. Even though I knew the Subaru would win when we first got ready for our Car of the Year series and ready for the start and then when we did Hatch of the Year, I knew this car would win, and then we versed it with the photos before the first video before Car of the Year, and it's the Subaru won, but at least it didn't win because the Mazda just nailed it at the back, which means is the very end of our video, which means if you listen, you would buy the Mazda 3, which means more Mazda 3 on the road and less of pickup trucks on the road. But that doesn't really nail it though. But people still can choose any car from Car of the Year that we choose, and maybe they only want a pickup truck, and then they wanted to pickup truck of the year and saw the Toyota Hilux one, and then yeah. So that's 2022 Car of the Year. I know that if you don't think it's enough, tell me, because now it's the last things. Bye, see you next time. Press like and see you next time, and bye.